You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Kristina Schiano, is a YouTube drumming superstar, and she has 1.45 million subscribers. She has also recently taken up some other instruments. We will talk to Kristina today about how her life has changed and how it hasn't changed over the past 2 years during the pandemic. She will give us some great advice and insights, and Kristina reveals her future plans and talks publicly for the first time about a super cool project that she has in the works. So come along with me as I catch up with Kristina Schiano. Kristina, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello.
Hey, it's so good to see you.
It's been a while since we got to actually face-to-face talk, so this is much needed.
It is much needed.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully we'll be like face-to-face in real life at some point in the near-ish future.
Yeah. I think I've only seen you in person like twice to actually have a conversation, and then everything exploded. So yeah.
It did explode. It definitely did. And speaking of everything exploding, we're going on 2 years at this point. Pretty soon it's going to be the 2-year mark, which is insanity. But how have you been through all of this? I know that you've had a bunch of changes happen and positive things and all of that too, but how has it been for you?
In the beginning, it just felt like the same regular day-to-day life because as a YouTuber, as a content creator, I always worked from home. So it was like, we always make the joke, YouTubers were made for quarantine. Yes. So I didn't have much change, but then, we're all human, and then getting cooped up kind of really hits you a certain way. So I ended up actually making a big decision, and I moved. I bought my first home. I changed states of where I lived. I mean, I went from New York to New Jersey, which is not that different, but
it's a big change for sure.
Yeah. So definitely the house was a highlight of my last year, and I got to build out a studio and everything. So I'm doing pretty well, all things considered.
That's good to hear. And I what you said about like YouTubers being made for quarantine, it's so interesting because I think that you all had like a leg up really in this situation because you had all the gear already. You knew how to stream and how to post and all that stuff. And I know that it was kind of almost like business as usual as far as work wise. But then of course the other aspect of it is the social part and the, being cooped up in the house. And I definitely, the social part for me was staggering, the no travel and not seeing friends and not going into an office. That was crazy. And then also like a lot of making food, because
are you not used to cooking?
I love cooking. I love it so much. I feel like it's therapeutic even, and I love baking and sweets and all that stuff. But I just kind of like didn't have a ton of time for that before. I felt like I was always, rushing home to make something as quick as possible kind of situation. But so then faced with the endless meal prep and meal cooking, like where, and it was kind of like, when are we going to be able to kind of get back to life? I think that was just it kind of signified the transition into quarantine for me in a really weird way. I've definitely gotten over that, and I feel like this is totally normal life now, which is also a weird feeling. But
yeah, that is weird. It's our new normal, really.
Right. Yeah. People kept that term, the new normal. And I think like I feel so much more comfortable with this life than I did a month or two into it when I was just like, what is this? What is happening? It was just such a weird change. But definitely kind of have gotten a little bit used to it, trying not to get too comfortable with it because I know, we'll be getting back out there soon. And, but I'm glad that things were positive for you and the positive changes. And I know that you had a flood in your new space. How are things going with that? Have you rebuilt?
So yeah, that happened in September, and we didn't get to rebuild yet. We did get all of the mold out, which was great. That had to be done as quick as possible. But right now I have holes in the walls and everything because all the contractors are so backed up because everyone got hit with this with the hurricanes. So
Yeah.
hopefully this month I found a contractor that I wanted. So hopefully he could fit me in because it's really not like a huge job. Like currently my new studio is in my dining room. I've moved my drum set in my dining room. I moved the table in my living room. So
Oh my gosh.
the house is a little cramped.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm still able to work. I'm still able to produce content, which was key, of course. So
Yes.
could have been way worse than what we got.
That's good. I'm glad everything's getting fixed and that
Yeah.
you have a solution in the meantime for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you on YouTube, I think since we last talked, your numbers have gone even higher, which is so amazing. And you're at
Mhm.
like 1.45 million right now,
Yeah, I
right?
think yeah.
Subscribers.
Mhm. That's crazy.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
and it wasn't that long ago that you were at 1 million subscribers because I remember that milestone, right?
Yeah.
Close to the start of the pandemic, actually, like not too far before that.
Yeah, I threw a party a couple months after, I hit 1 million, and that, I think, was a month before we went into, like, lockdown and everything, which
Right.
is so
Right.
weird.
It is so
Yeah.
crazy. But I'm so glad that you've been able to continue making content. And
Yeah.
some of the latest videos that you posted have been like different than what you've done
Mhm.
before and
Yeah.
super cool. So like you playing guitar with you drumming, which I
Yeah.
love that. That was
Thanks.
so great. It was that was the last video, right, that you
Yeah.
posted?
I posted that, I think, last week.
That's awesome. And I didn't even
Yeah.
know that you played guitar. So
I don't. I have a guitar and I was always like able to play like a few chords. I don't know the names of the chords, don't know the names of strings. But randomly I was learning In Bloom by Nirvana
Mhm.
on the drums and I was like, I feel like switching it up a bit. So I went on YouTube, I found like a tutorial. It wasn't hard. So I'm like, all right, I'll give this a try. And it was just so weird seeing me on camera holding a guitar. I thought it was like the strangest thing ever. But I plan actually to do more of those because it was cool. I like the magic of the video because like it's two of me on screen and
Mhm.
stuff. So yeah, it was a unique experience for me.
It was super cool, and
Yeah.
also, like, your editing skills are fantastic because
Thank you.
and to me, it is magic. It actually is magic, so
Yeah, it was cool. I learned a few tricks on how to really get that effect to work. A lot of people, yeah, they don't know that I edit my own videos. I do all of the work. So it was a nice challenge for me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm remembering back to, I feel like maybe we sent you a bunch of, T-shirts for Zildjian, right? It was Zildjian T-shirts that
Yes.
we sent you, and you did a super cool video of like, the
Oh,
throwing
right.
the T-shirt on, right? And then switching it out, and I was like, "That is incredible," and I have to pick your brain about that kind of stuff because
I
that's just
forgot I did that.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that stuff is
Uh-huh.
fun. It's cool to do some magic on screen.
Absolutely. I'll have to figure out if I can find that
Mhm.
video and link it so that
Yeah.
people can see that because it is I mean, you have really great skills with that stuff too, so I love that you're gonna do more,
Mhm.
of those kind of, like, split 2
Yeah.
Christinas. It's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
And also new things, you've been looping. I saw a
Mhm.
video of
Yeah.
you, which was really, really cool because again, like, you're playing keys
Mhm.
and have you had any, like, or are you a piano player or a keyboard player, or is that
Not even a
totally
little.
self-taught?
I fully wung that. And I looked up again YouTube tutorials.
Yes.
But I think yeah, for piano it was interesting because I don't know, you hit a key. If it sounds good, you roll with it. If it doesn't sound good, then you change it. So for me, the piano was easier than the guitar portion of my last video. But yeah, those drum loops are cool in the sense that it awakens like the creative nerve in my brain because I'm not used to creating songs. I'm not used to deconstructing songs or anything. So
Mhm.
I definitely want to do more of those actually this year. That's in my plan. Because that was actually one of the hardest things I probably have ever had to do. And I'm down for the challenge.
Yes, you are,
Yeah.
and you nailed it too.
Yeah.
It
Thank
sounded
you.
awesome. Yeah, and I love to see that creative part of you too,
Mhm.
because I and you in your drum covers, you are creative as well. But like, I loved to see you creating music,
Yeah.
and yeah, just that part of you coming out was awesome. And I'm just a fan of the looping videos
Mhm.
because that technology and all of that. I mean, you think about Ed Sheeran's a really great example of someone who
Yeah.
really like did the looping thing and made it amazing and a career out of it.
Mhm.
And so I love that. And you see like I see like young artists doing that now, like Nandy Bushell.
Yes.
And I'm just like, this is incredible. And by the way, I have no idea how this works. So I need to get I need to
It's
get
hard.
on
It
that.
is confusing. There's like so many different equipments that you can use. Some people keep it more simple. I like to keep it more simple because yeah,
Mhm.
it can get very, very confusing super fast.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine how that
Yeah.
would get confusing,
Yeah.
especially like adding layers and pushing
Mhm.
all the buttons and all
Yeah.
of that.
And one
Um,
one mistake and it just ruins the whole thing.
and it's done, right?
Yeah.
But you can just do another take because
Yes.
you're great with that too. So that's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. And I just wanted to talk about too, like your most popular covers on YouTube. I
Mhm.
am fascinated by the fact that like they are songs that I grew up listening to like when wow, in my formative years, like most of the top songs are like, the songs that when I started really getting into playing drums myself and into
Mhm.
music, those were the songs that were being created at the time. And so they're like close to my heart. Like I love Metallica and
Mhm.
Nirvana and all of that. And at the time, like a lot of that music was just so new and
Mhm.
different. So I love the fact that like years later, you're doing these drum covers and these are like the most popular ones on your channel.
People they want nostalgia. They really do. They wanna be brought back to those memories. So, that was like the for a while on my channel, I was only doing new, like, top 10 videos, mostly of
Mhm,
pop songs, because that's usually what's on the charts. And
mhm.
then I was like, "You know what? I wanna play the stuff I grew up on." So, I started playing, like, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, all those old songs, and then, of course, even the older ones like Metallica and stuff, and all the comments I get is just like, "Oh, I remember what I was doing the first day I heard this song," and stuff like
Yes.
that. So, yeah, people wanna be brought back to those memories. So that's why I think those videos are so successful.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
totally see that, and I
yeah.
I feel the same way, and, like, I'm trying to think of some of the other music of that time, like, Incubus
Mhm.
would be awesome, an
Yeah.
Incubus song or, like, some Korn or,
Those are
you
on my
know
list.
right?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. I have a very long list.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'm just gonna throw out more I'll just be
Yeah.
like, "All of these other things, Christina, add to your list."
Oh, my dad gives it to me all the time. He's like, "Oh, play some Kiss or, The Doors," or
Oh.
all of his songs he wants me to cover too.
Yeah, is that the music that you grew up listening to? Like
Yeah.
what your dad was playing? Yeah.
Yeah, he had, like, maybe, like, 4 bands on repeat every time we were in his car, so The Doors is, like, burned into my brain.
It's so fun. I
Yeah.
same thing with my dad. He was
Mhm.
into classic rock music, so The Doors and Zeppelin
Yep.
and all of that. That's all the music that I grew up on.
Yeah.
And you know what's really funny is he still listens to the classic rock station.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been a long time since I drove with him in the car,
Mhm.
and we drove together. He has a pickup truck, and I needed his help picking up a big Christmas gift this year. So it was a big surprise. So we snuck out of the house and went to pick up this Christmas gift. And so I got a chance to chat with him and listen to music again for the first time in quite a while.
That's
And
nice.
so he's got the classic rock station on, and what comes on but Green Day and the Beastie Boys
Yep.
and then Metallica and then Alice in Chains, and I was like, first of all, it kind of broke my heart because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, my music is classic now." And
It's
but
true
the
though,
other
yeah.
but the other thing that made me so happy is that, like, I grew up listening to my dad's music on this station and being influenced by that, and now my dad is listening to my music on his
Yeah.
station, and I'm just like, "How great is this?" So we had this
Yeah.
whole conversation about how much he loves Alice in Chains,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm having, like, a full circle moment here."
It's true. I had a big wake-up call of my age when I covered a Paramore song, and I had people commenting asking who they are. And I was like, "Whoa, this is really strange," because it was the younger audience,
Oh
and I
my
guess,
goodness.
Paramore is not as big as they used to be or anything, so that was like, "Wow, Paramore is my life, and you don't even know who they are."
Yes, I
Yeah.
I know. It is a weird feeling, I think, when
Mhm.
you are put into, like, a new category of,
Yeah.
like, music according to your age group. Like,
Mhm.
and when you were, forming your musical taste, like, on your own, besides what you had listened to or what your parents listened to, that's kind of a key moment, I think, and it sticks with you. So, Paramore to you, I'm sure, like, at that point in time was, like, so highly influential, so it
Yeah.
stays with you, and
Mhm.
then to hear that, like, the next generation is maybe into something else, it's always a little bit painful,
Yeah.
I always think, like, what a cool opportunity to pick that generation's brain about what they're into, like, what are they listening to? I have
Yeah.
younger cousins that I ask, "Who's your band? What's your
Mhm.
what are you listening to?" Um, and a lot of times it's like a singular artist now. It's more of like an
Yeah.
artist than a band,
Yeah.
which is tough to
I feel
swallow.
like I feel like most of that is because of, like, TikTok too, because there's so many singular artists that have the one single too. So they have, like these kids have, like, a long list of, like, 10 different artists that they're obsessed with that just have, like, the single, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a TikTok thing for sure."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does make a ton of sense. And are you on TikTok?
No, I feel like I'm so old. I'm not old. I'm
No.
26. I'm 26, but TikTok is a whole 'nother beast. Like, you have to be successful there, I feel like you need to post every single day at least once or twice, and
Yes.
I don't have the brain capacity to do that. And also a lot
Yeah.
of I have posted a few videos there, and they keep getting blocked for copyright, so I'm like,
Oh,
I don't
no.
yeah, I don't even know what to do in that sense, so I haven't
Yeah.
attempted.
Okay, I'm just curious because
Yeah.
I am also not on TikTok, but it's good to know you at age 26 feel like
Yeah, I feel
people.
old.
So I definitely am like, that's one platform that, it's hard to grasp, I think, unless you're creating, like, videos that go along with the TikTok trends,
Yeah.
because I think that's where, things kind of, like, go viral
Yes. Yeah.
or you have short form. I think there are some drummers who are creating, like, short form content that
Mhm.
actually, like, is really, successful on that platform, but,
Yeah,
um
short form is an art because they are really able to grasp a person's attention within, like, the first 3 seconds, because that's really what matters, and I haven't been able to unlock that in my own brain yet. But yeah, that's a talent to learn, it really is to be able to do, like, 30-second amazing, interesting, well-created videos.
Right, yes, I
Yeah,
agree. I'm thinking
yeah,
though, like, with your looping stuff though,
yeah.
maybe editing, like, a clip that's 30 seconds, that might be a great way to, like, broach that
Yeah,
platform.
that could definitely work, and there's no copyright on that. So
Yes.
yeah, that type of stuff could definitely work.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Well, TikTok in 2022. That's the
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I'll see you on there, Christine.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, so you've had a year of growth for sure on YouTube and posting
Mhm,
new videos and using new techniques and all of that stuff. Which is amazing.
mhm.
And so what are your besides joining TikTok, what are what are your thoughts? You know, you're gonna do some more looping. Are there plans for different kinds of videos coming up, or I know you have a long list, so
Yes, 2022 is gonna be the most different content age of my career for sure. Um, it's not that I wanna leave behind the drum covers, but I'm definitely ready to add more spice. So, drum looping for sure. I am going to be taking singing lessons.
oh
So
my gosh.
we'll see how that goes. If it goes well, I want to start doing either full band covers of me playing every single instrument, singing, maybe some original work.
Mhm.
And there's I actually haven't told anyone this yet. I'll give you guys a sneak peek.
Oh,
I have always been obsessed with van life. Are you familiar with van life?
yes.
Okay. I've always been obsessed with it. I watched so many videos about it, and I think I'm finally going to take the step and get like a small van, and I
Yes.
want to pack up a small condensed version of a drum set and take it to very interesting places to film a video with. So
Oh,
that hopefully will be happening this year as long as I could find a van that can hold it.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so for anyone listening, van life, if you're
yeah.
not following van life or don't know, so, basically, it's traveling around, right? Like,
Mhm.
basically living out of a converted van,
Yes.
and, either you know, you do a lot of posting and social media and just, like, kind of documenting the journey, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's such
So
an interesting life, especially I love watching the videos that they're cooking in their van too. It's
yes.
just it's just so interesting. So, it's just something that has always been in the back of my mind, and I'm old enough to do it finally and, like, not have my parents say, "No, don't do it." So, I'm I I'm really gonna make an effort to get that to happen.
Okay, I love that idea,
Yeah.
and we'll have to talk because I know a drummer who converts vans. That's what he does.
Whoa, okay.
Yes,
I will
yeah,
talk
and
to you after this.
we will talk about that, and I follow his, it's Haven Vans is his company. We'll just do a little
Okay.
plug for that because it's awesome. Ben
Mhm,
Harklerode, who played in, Whitechapel, was the
mhm,
band that he was in for a long time, but, so I watched his van conversions, and they're
mhm.
so, like, fascinating just
Yes.
to see this
Yeah.
shell become a home
Mhm.
and have all the things that you need to live in this, like, compact unit, and, you know, I'm definitely, like, a tiny home fan
Mhm.
and all of that. I
Um,
love that
I'm
stuff, so
obsessed with it. I before buying this house, I was like, "Do I wanna get a tiny home? Am I gonna do that?" And I'm like, "No, I have the drums, I can't do it."
yeah.
But, yeah, it's actually funny. I have footage of probably 3 or 4 years ago of me creating this tiny drum set. I did this years ago, and I just never
Oh.
actually used it. So, it's time to do it. It's time.
Well, that is super exciting. I
Yeah,
am like I can't wait to see this happen because I know you'll make it happen and I
yeah.
know it'll be super interesting and the idea of traveling around to cool places and
Mhm.
playing there, that's I love it. It's going to be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Absolutely. And so that's future plans. That's amazing. I love that you just gave us the exclusive
Yeah,
news.
I haven't told anyone that.
I love that. And maybe your parents will listen and they'll be like,
Well, they're not allowed to tell me no. I don't live at home anymore.
right? Exactly. I know. I
Yeah.
know. But no, that's amazing. And I did have a note to ask you about this. And I love that like we just kind of talked about something that you've always wanted to do and you're gonna make happen because before the lockdown, you
Mhm.
posted a video where you answered a bunch of questions from viewers that had
Mhm.
submitted questions to you, and one of the questions was, "What is your bucket list?" So you you had two really interesting answers for that.
Mhm.
One was swimming with orca whales, and the other
Yes.
one was playing Madison Square Garden. So
Yes.
and we'll add to that the van life. But
Mhm.
so I'm just curious, like, about the orca whales thing, because a lot of people will say like swimming with dolphins
No,
or
yeah.
that kind of thing, but orca whales is just so like unique and interesting to me.
I am so in love with orca whales. I'm looking at my Christmas tree right now, and people got me orca ornaments. I have orca
Oh,
whale slippers, orca like so many things in my house is related to orca whales. I think ever since Free Willy was out when I was a kid,
yeah,
that's all I watched. And I don't know, I've watched so many documentaries about them, and they really are like gentle giants. The term killer whale, they kill animals. They don't kill people. Like it's
right. And all
unless
animals kill
yeah.
animals, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly. So as long as they're, free in the wild, they're very kind animals. So I need to touch one. I just want to lean over a boat
oh,
and touch one or go diving. That has to happen at some point in my life.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think that would be a beautiful experience, and
yeah.
similar to that, sea turtles are my
Mhm.
favorite. I just love them so much. They're so beautiful and graceful, and they
Yeah.
have these long lives,
Mhm.
and they're peaceful, and I had the chance a few times to swim with sea turtles, and it was
Oh,
just, like, the greatest.
yeah,
On
especially
my
when it's in the wild too, like, that's where they belong. Like, people tell me, "Oh, you could see a killer whale anywhere, like, go to SeaWorld." I will never go to SeaWorld
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
So, yeah, when it's in the wild and, they're living their best life and oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
That is so cool. So
Yeah.
you'll have to I wonder where you can see. I think maybe I don't know. Well, I'll have to
I don't know where you're allowed to swim with them, but being in a boat, there's some in certain parts of California, Alaska, obviously, like the
Mhm.
far away places.
Right.
Maybe I'll try to do the California one because one of my friends, a fellow drummer, Anthony Gazelle, used to live in a town called Orca Island in California.
Oh,
And there were actually whales there. So I should just go there.
you should totally go there.
Yeah.
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 Like take a paddle board out or something, or a
Oh my god,
kayak,
imagine a
or
kayak. I will just jump in. I won't be able to contain myself.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
that yeah, I love that goal. That's
mhm,
and it's unique.
yeah,
I heard that's something I have to ask about because
mhm,
I haven't heard that before.
yeah.
And are you big on the ocean or like ocean sports or diving or any of that?
I could barely swim, so
Okay.
it doesn't really match with my
That
personality or anything, but
right?
I
But that
will
can be fixed.
yeah, I'll take swimming lessons. I will learn how to dive, if just tie me to a boat and make sure I don't sink too far, like, I'm fine.
Or maybe a life vest, right? A
Yeah,
life
yeah.
vest, and yeah, you can do that.
Yeah,
There's a thing in Hawaii called snuba. So like if you're not
okay.
scuba certified, you can do snuba, which is same thing where you have, oxygen coming through, and the
Mhm.
tank is not on your back, but it's attached to a floating
Oh,
um
perfect.
yeah, device kind of that just
Yeah.
floats on the water. You could go
Yeah.
down 30 feet and swim around freely, but with
Yeah.
oxygen. And it's not, like I said, you don't have to be certified, and it's not as intense, but you
Mhm.
get to see everything under there. So that could be a cool
I'm
option,
gonna sign up for that now.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can not, even if you can't swim, you could be with someone, and
Yeah.
you could just be kind of under the water, but swimming lessons too, that's good. But the
Yeah.
singing lessons first, and then
Yeah, yeah.
swimming
I
lessons.
still have to do some priorities,
Yeah.
what's gonna help my job, swimming with orcas or singing? I don't know.
Right, right. But mental health, that's
Yes.
important too, for
Yes.
sure. So it's good to have those outside
Yeah.
goals, and and especially like in these times where we're all
Mhm.
mental health is a serious, thing on everyone's mind.
Mhm.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I've asked you this question before, but I feel like it's something important to bring up, which is the internet, the negativity that comes with putting yourself out there
Yeah.
publicly on a forum. And you've always had a really great way of talking about how you deal with that negative aspect. And
Mhm.
it doesn't even matter what it is, who you are, what you do, whoever you are, whatever you post,
Yeah.
there's always some negativity that comes back. And so I just want to talk a little bit about how you handle that and how that's developed over the years since you've kind of grown in your YouTube channel.
Yeah. I mean, definitely now I'd say it occupies 1% of my mind. It's like barely there. But when
Mhm.
I first started out, you might get one negative comment in a out of 100 positive ones, but that one will make you want to never post a video again or stop playing the drums forever. So it took me a while to realize that those people are probably really sad or jealous or are just bored, and
Right.
that they would never say it to your face ever. So I don't know. I think eventually I just like built a thick skin. I grew a thick skin. Sometimes I will even go back at them because they never want to be confronted ever. So I will reply sometimes in a very sarcastic way
Yeah.
or something just to like stick it to them. And a lot of times I get replies back saying like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you were going to see this. I'm so sorry."
Right.
Don't put it out there in the world if you don't want the creator or other people to see it. So yeah, I honestly would suggest to people to not even let it occupy their mind. Go through your comments. That's always a good thing. It's good to filter things.
Mhm.
But also, when you do see that one bad comment, think rationally. Like, am I the worst drummer in the world? No. Should I never post? It makes me happy. Of course, I'm going to post. So that's what I would just do.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really, really great advice, and I think
Yeah.
it's important for people to hear,
Mhm.
and, not just younger kids coming up, but, like, everybody, because
Yeah.
it is something that can affect you. I agree about, like, just kind of developing a thick skin. I think
Yeah.
that happens over time, and not letting it bother you.
Yeah, especially the ones like if they're commenting on your drumming or whatever the video's about, like okay, that's reasonable, but once they start attacking your personality or just you as a human, that's when you really know like okay, this person really doesn't know anything. Like
Yeah.
there's no reason to think about this at all. Like years ago. I mean, I still get this, but years ago there was one comment that stuck out and it was just so morbid. And I posted about it and I wrote this long thing and I was just like, why? Like why do people have to spread this hate? It's not necessary at all. So, yeah, don't there's no need to comment anything like that ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't, right? Like,
Yeah.
why bother with that? Again,
Mhm.
I always come back to if you don't have something nice to say,
Yeah,
don't say anything at all,
exactly,
And
exactly,
there
yeah.
is a way, if there's actually a criticism that would be helpful, there is a way
Yeah,
to get that across in a way that does help. And
exactly.
we just right at the beginning of this, we went through like the audio levels because
Mhm.
I heard back from someone who the audio in the last episode was off and this is what's happening, this is what I'm hearing, and I was like, thank you so much, like I
Yeah,
so
yeah.
appreciate that. But like you said, when someone comes and they're like, oh, I hate her face or whatever,
Yes. Yep.
why? Guess what, it's here. Like,
Can't do anything about it.
but why would you
Yeah,
say something like that? So yeah.
yeah,
And the other thing that I think about is that when someone comes at you with something like that, they post it and then they leave and they never think about it again. So if
yep.
you're letting it bother you, as the person who put the content out there, it's just useless worry, because
Yeah.
that person isn't thinking about you after they do that. They're just off to the next
Exactly.
person that they're gonna,
Yeah, if
you
it's,
know.
if posting videos or whatever it is making you happy, why would you ever let someone tell you you can't do something? So, like, if I
Yes.
listened to, I've probably gotten 10,000, 20,000 negative comments throughout all these years. If I listened to all those, I wouldn't be having a career I wanna do, I wouldn't be happy, my life would be fully different. For what? To
Mhm.
listen to a stranger that doesn't know anything about me? So there's
Right,
no
right.
need to listen to it.
Exactly. And at the end
Yeah,
of the day, you're creating content because you love to do it. And
yes,
it makes you happy, like you said.
exactly, yeah,
So that's the point of it all.
mhm,
And I think when people are authentic in what they're doing, if they're making a specific type of music, even if it's not widely loved in some aspect or
yeah,
whatever, and when it makes them happy, you see it, and you know, and you
yeah,
wouldn't have, almost 1.5 million subscribers if you weren't doing something really great. So
yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think it's so important to point that out, because it is tough to deal with, especially
Mhm.
when you are starting out and getting your feet under you and you hear something negative and you're just like, "Oh, it's
Ye
defeating."
It
So,
is, yeah,
but I do love your advice. Let it roll off your back, and don't let it bother you too much. Um
exactly.
and one thing I wanted to ask you about too is, we talked about the videos that you have that were songs that were made in like the 90s and early 2000s, and
Mhm.
you've done a lot of newer music as well. Is there any new music that you're like just super excited about? Have you heard anything recently that really just kind of caught your ear?
Huh. I surprisingly enough, I don't listen to a lot of new music. I'm still stuck in my Paramore days and that.
Yeah.
Um, but, I do go on TikTok quite a bit, so I'll hear the songs there.
Hmm.
Um, and that they are very, very catchy. It's
Yes.
Yeah, they're really catchy. I have covered, I think, 2 or 3 songs that were big on TikTok, and that's interesting and also scary because a lot of my audience isn't into that. So that was like a gamble. Sometimes
Hmm.
it works, sometimes it doesn't. But honestly, the music I listen to is very different. I go from, like post-hardcore screaming
Hmm.
to full 180 worship Christian music. So it's
Hmm.
like very, very different. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't even listen to that much music anymore. I'm enjoying the silence and the sounds of nature and stuff. And that always comes in phases. Sometimes I'm super into an album, sometimes I just want complete silence.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
well, speaking of nature too, the last time we talked, you were talking about being committed to getting outside, getting into nature more, spending
Yeah.
more time outside. How has that been going? I know it's cold right now outside,
Yes.
so
No, it's been pretty good. In my new neighborhood, there's a lot of hiking trails, so I love it. I like being in the middle of the woods, and just, like, breathing that air does something to my brain, so I've been keeping up with it, I have been.
that's great. That's
Yeah,
so great to hear.
yeah,
I know. It's I don't know how it is in New Jersey, but it just went from weirdly warm to
yeah.
incredibly cold.
Yeah,
Um
we have ice on the floor all of a sudden, I'm like, "Where'd that come from?"
yeah,
Like, it was just 50 degrees yesterday.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a new puppy, and so walking the puppy this morning, I was just like, "Oh, yes, it is winter time in New England. It is, and I
What kind of
probably should have a jacket."
what kind of puppy?
He's a golden retriever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's the
Amazing.
sweetest thing.
Amazing.
Super, super, super great puppy, and, if we can just get, like, the sleeping thing down, that would be
Yeah.
amazing. So we're working on it, but definitely, like, it's a great excuse to go outside and,
Yes.
take long walks, and, he's a trooper too. We took him on, like, an hour-long hike,
Wow,
just
nice.
and very, very, relaxed. I was more
Mhm.
like an hour-long walk because he's still a puppy,
Yeah.
but, just, it's a good reason to get out there. I'm also a big fan of hiking, and
Mhm.
where I live, there are a lot of mountains, so
Oh,
it's the
amazing.
close enough by, within
Yeah,
driving distance.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad that it's been your experience over this past year has been 2 years has been positive.
yeah,
I
it's
keep
crazy.
thinking to myself that it's, oh yeah, this past year, and then I realize we're coming up on 2 years, and it just kind of feels like a lot of extension of 2020. So
Yeah, and it's just a blur, and I was actually talking my best friend Cole Rowland, he is a guitarist. Um, I was just talking to him today, and we're like, "Wow, we haven't seen each other in person in 2 years." And we usually would get a few visits every year and the NAMM convention, and it's
yes.
just like, I haven't seen, because most I have close by friends from, like, school and stuff, but a
Hmm.
lot of my friends are musicians that literally live in so many different states and countries, so it's weird not being able to see those people for so long.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you. I think this industry that we are in is unique in the way that we do, or in the past we did see each other a lot at
yeah,
and a lot of, like, your friends from around the world, you would see at these conventions, at the NAMM convention, or if people go to PASIC,
mhm,
or the UK drum show, or any of the drum shows that are all
yeah,
around. Um, and so, like, we wouldn't go this long without seeing each other in person, and it's such a close community that not seeing each other is really, really weird.
yeah, yeah, I always find comfort talking to people that know what this lifestyle is, whether it's
Yes,
being a musician or specifically YouTube, which is like
right.
a whole 'nother beast. No one understands it unless you're in it. So it's been difficult not being able to, get to get all that energy out with your peers.
Yes.
It's been tough.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I think I this is really why, I started this podcast, was
Mhm.
exactly that, just to like, at least see each other over
Yeah. Yeah.
over the camera, but really, really to be able to catch up and stay in each other's lives,
Yeah.
because it's yeah, it's not easy, and I think we're all very social people
Mhm.
in this community,
Yeah.
and so not being able to kind of like throw things off each other in
Mhm.
person, or just chat about life. I know a lot of things, a lot of times we're just chatting about life
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
we all have very similar challenges, whether it's travel and family and all that kind
Mhm.
of thing. So to have all of that stop very suddenly, I think was jarring, to say the least. But
Yeah.
it's amazing how we've all adjusted in different
Yeah.
ways, and like come through, and thank so thankful for technology. Um, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this, you were in a really great spot with the technology
Yeah.
because you knew how to do all this stuff, and didn't have like so much of the catch up. But
I was gonna say in the beginning of this, I was able to talk to so many musicians that I look up to because they were, stuck at home now and they're trying to figure out the online world. So I had so many
Mhm.
phone calls or texting chats with artists that I love watching perform and I'm helping them. And I'm like, wow, this is different for me. And it's so cool seeing them like challenge themselves to figure out how to film and coming up with content because it is very different than touring life or anything like that. So,
Yes.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was cool to see everyone being more active online because it is very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How we just talked you just talked about, like, learning, guitar from YouTube,
Mhm.
and, and piano parts and all of that. It's so interesting how fast it's come in the direction of learning online, and
Mhm.
you can really learn how to do anything on YouTube. I mean, you can
Yes.
fix the toilet from a YouTube
And I
video.
have. I
Right? I mean,
have.
we had a pool that, needed to be packed up,
Mhm.
one of those Intex pools that need to be packed up for the winter time. And I YouTubed like, what is the best way? And
Yeah.
okay, there's a really detailed way to pack this thing. So it's really incredible that so many people have embraced
Mhm.
embrace the online world over the past couple of years. And then, we talked to people like Peter Erskine, who I interviewed a few weeks ago, and Peter had really quickly like pivoted to
Mhm.
utilizing technology that he hadn't used before to keep teaching, keep giving lessons. And the way that he did it, and it was just so unique, so that everything would sync up and everyone would be on the same page. And it's the ability, I think, to adjust and pivot that's been key
Yeah.
for everyone to kind of get through this whole time. And I personally can't wait until live music is back too,
Yeah.
and, we're able to get out there. And I know before the pandemic, you went on a tour, and were you supposed to continue that or go on or do more of
No,
that?
so that was just a 1 week
Mhm.
long. I think, like, 2 weeks after I got back, everything started to shut down again. So I'm glad I
Was
didn't get stuck
yeah,
anywhere, but there was talk about that same tour doing it again in China. I think it was that following June, which
right,
obviously that didn't happen.
right.
But yeah, that was a possibility of happening if I was able to join that and everything. There might be a possibility of me doing a different tour in June. I'm trying to work out the logistics of it and see how Corona is and everything. So I would also like to be playing live more often. I'm not made for long tours.
Mhm.
Definitely not how I work. That's just a hard life. But
Yes.
a week and a half tour here and there, I could definitely do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Totally understandable.
yeah,
But that's great, and that's what I was thinking of, was the possibility of China being postponed.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I mean, I saw a video of you performing with a band, and
Hmm.
I think it's really super cool.
Yeah.
So I really look forward to all of the things that are gonna happen for you
Thank
this
you.
year and yeah, into the future. And I can't wait for your van life
Yes.
posts and all of that. Like, I will I'll put some links so people can make sure they're following you,
Awesome.
on Instagram and on YouTube, and then, the future TikTok stuff.
Yep. And on Twitch, I do basically live drum concerts, 2 hours every once in a while, on Twitch. So those are cool, live streaming.
That is very cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'll have to make sure that I have, links to all of that,
yeah.
so that everyone can come and follow you and see what you're up to in the future, and then see the video of you swimming with the orcas, because I know it'll
Yes.
happen.
Definitely will have a I will absolutely have that on video.
Yes, yes, you will, I'm sure. But I can't wait to see what's next for you, Christina, and so appreciate you coming on today
Of
and
course.
chatting with us and sharing and giving us exclusive info on your plans. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and good luck with just continuing to grow this podcast. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.
Absolutely, I hope so.
Absolutely. Okay, you take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.